Hello YouTube! What's this? A consistent upload schedule? Yeah, so basically I wanted to start doing more Lolita related content. I'm feeling really inspired, hopefully that will last. And I wanted to do something that doesn't require me to buy a huge amount of stuff every week because I simply do not have the room. Because I simply do not have the room or the finance to do that. So I was trying to sort of come up with content that there isn't that and that I would like to see, and I really enjoy reading Lolita fashion themed books or books about Lolita fashion, but it's there's not really a lot of video content around them, discussing them, or some kind of. It's pretty hard to find like discussions outside of like blogs maybe. And one of the books I had actually seen people ask about and like be interested in, but that and other people had read it, but it's like there wasn't that many discussions. I don't know. So anyway, I decided to start a series. Hopefully it will be a series where I talk about different Lolita fashion related books, and I obviously can't title it the Lolita book review because then it would like people would think it has to do with the book that nobody wants to think about. So this is actually a co-authored book. There are two people writing it and drawing the illustrations for it, and there it consists of essays, and the essays actually sometimes also have their own authors, like outside of the two people who put together the book, and I'm gonna put their names on the screen because I don't want to butcher them. So this book is a collection of essays about Lolita fashion, as well as comics. And I'm gonna talk about my expectations when I ordered this, the illustrations, the essays, the content of the comics, and it's all just my personal opinion. But I'm gonna try and explain why I feel the way I do, but like obviously you're all allowed to disagree. First off, I'm gonna start about from the place that has frequently asked questions about Lolita fashion, because I actually really like this part of the book. I think it's really well put together. It has those really nice, neat little answers that are well thought out. A book after the introduction, the book begins with these, and they also have illustrations accompanying the explanations, and it's this part of the book is like really good for anyone who wants to have these quick answers to these questions that are constantly asked. I think it's also a good short summary of the frequently asked questions for anyone who doesn't know about Lolita fashion. But then all of the rest of the book sort of is for people who already know about the fashion and who are really into it and who would be able to relate to some of the things that the essays and the comics are about. The illustrations are, in a word, awesome. In two words, they're very awesome. They are very cute. There are different artists, because there are two authors and they both draw things, and they are both very good illustrators. The illustrations are simple, but they're cute. They are suitable for the fashion. They're adorable. I really like the illustration style. There are some more intricate pictures that have like more detail, like the picture at the very beginning, which I didn't even notice first, had an usakumiya, and now I see it, and now I'm super happy, and I want to have a poster of this picture. It is so pretty. So yeah, I love the illustrations, even when there are these simple lookbook sketches. They are adorable. They have so much detail, and yet they look so clean. The comics don't really have any backgrounds. Most of them are pretty backgroundless, so there's no like detailed backgrounds most of the time. But it's cute. It matches the fashion, and the illustrations are one of the best things about this book. And like there are loads. Okay, I see some backgrounds, but generally the backgrounds are pretty simplistic. But everything, all the characters are really cute, really fitting to the Lolita aesthetic, and it's super adorable. And I love the drawing style, and I love when there are these rare, sort of more realistic images put in between the cute kawaii stuff. It's very cute. I love the illustrations. Now, talking about the essays is probably the hardest bit because they are so different and they're often done by different authors than the people who put together the book. So I liked the essays. I liked all of them. I like some of them better than others, but that's completely subjective. I think the essays took longer research papers and really summarized them in a way that was interesting and interesting to read and easy to understand, but not oversimplified either. Like, I feel like they were really well summarized and condensed and like concentrated, and the point came across most of the time, I believe. And I really enjoyed the essays. There's also an interview with Navala Takamata, and I also enjoyed that. They are also a bit critical at times and try to see the dark side of Lolita fashion, if you will, the problematics. I really liked the essay that compared Japanese girls wearing the fashion and American girls, and how their thought processes different and how they feel differently about the fashion, and how they put different emphasis on the importance of community, and I thought that was really interesting. So I really recommend this book if you like this sort of reading essays and like slightly scientific stuff, but not too difficult to read, well summarized, but still like kind of a deep reading, not a very light reading. It has that depth which I really enjoy. As I mentioned, I love the illustration themselves, but as for the content of the comic, I had a completely different expectation. So my expectation was that this is sort of relatable content that as many Lolitas as possible would be able to relate. And I also sort of expected, because the subject of the essays can be quite heavy, that the comics are gonna be like lighter, in between pieces, to make the whole thing happier. No, this is not the case. The comics are at times darker than the essays, and I feel the comics are unnecessarily dark. Like in the essays, I feel it's important to be critical when you're writing a scientific paper. It's important to look at a thing from different angles and ask these questions that you don't normally ask and go in depth, and that's all very important. In comics though, like obviously you can do that and it's fine if you do that, but my expectations were sort of fun, relatable reading, and I think these comics are meant to be relatable, but I found none of them relatable. And why am I holding? Because they're so dark. There's the first one, a girl literally cuts her arm off, and the first one doesn't have much to do with Lolita fashion, and the author kind of acknowledges that as well at the end of the comic. And well, good for the author. But this is another thing that sort of bothers me about the content of the comics. They have like a lot of them, a few of them, like there aren't that many, so, but like some of them have nothing to do with Lolita fashion other than the fact that the character is wearing the fashion, and like, it's not even that relevant to the story, which is disappointing, because I am buying this book wanting to read about Lolita fashion, and the fashion is sort of taking a back seat. There are mentions of the fashion is sort of part of the story, but it's not the main hero. This isn't about being a Lolita. There is one comic in this, which is the Ribbon Army, which I find like plausible and relatable and happy, and I like that one. Like maybe that's completely my problem, that I expected to have this light and relatable kind of shit Lolita say type of content. I actually really wish someone did comics like that, fun, relatable. They kind of like everyday stuff, like you go in front of a mirror and your petticoat looks super poofy, and then by the time you're at the meetup it's flat. Like just fun, relatable content, seeing your dream dress on sale when you don't have any money. Like the kind of thing that is pretty always relatable. Like even if you haven't been in that situation, you can relate to this. It has this really, the comics have these really dark motifs of Lolita fashion, like either consuming people or people leaving their fashion and becoming overwhelmed with the fashion. And the essays have a lot of this as well. And combined, this book becomes really depressing. Like it just if I read this book when I wasn't a Lolita yet, I wouldn't want to be a Lolita after reading this book. It paints a really, like overall, it paints a really dark, like the title is so pretty, very rotten, and that's exactly what it is. The title is like very accurate in terms of how it paints Lolita fashion. Like a pretty thing, but not necessarily a good thing. And a thing that maybe consumes and corrupts you a bit, and I don't think that's what it is. Would I recommend this to other Lolitas? Yes, because there aren't that many books on the market about this kind of stuff. The essays are very good, the illustrations are very pretty, it's fun to read, it's enjoyable. You can skip some of the comics maybe, or just read them once. I mean, there's not that much text. The comics aren't personally my favorite bit, but essays are awesome. I would give this book 4 Usakimiyas out of 5. So if you like this video, if you want to see more of me spending 20 minutes ranting about a book, then what you must do is tell me in the comments that you actually like this, leave a like, subscribe, and hopefully I will actually make this a series. I have ordered Kamikaze Girls manga from work. I feel like I have a weird accent today. I have ordered the Kamikaze Girls manga from work, and this will take a while to get here first, and then I will have to read it, and then I can compare it to the movie, which I am hoping to do. I also have a Lolita related picture book, but I don't know how I would accurately review it. It's really hard to review, but I might try. And I have a few more ideas for this series, so hopefully I can actually make this a series. Hopefully people will enjoy it, and if you did, then I see you in my next video.